Hello, back in the lockdown workshop again. It's okay, that's what they're doing. Look at that. Lovely. Just had a little bit of a shower, I don't know where that came from. Tango's up there, we're not doing that one today. That's done and dusted, you've probably seen on the other videos. Or not, depending on whether I've uploaded them yet or not. CX was done the other day, return visit, that's going back to its owner. Just spotted, not put the tang on the end of that, so I need to do that before it goes back to Jerry. What else have we got? What is it we're doing today? Completely forgot. Need to tidy up the workshop again. So we'll start off with a tidy up the workshop. Tidy up the workshop. On the time lapse, because we seem to do a lot of that. No, this one today is this. Diane's bike's back. It's Planet X Pro Carbon, I think, is it? I think it's a Pro Carbon. It's one of the Generation 2, I think. Is it Pro Carbon or is it an Evo? I think it's the Pro Carbon Evolution, if I remember rightly. So it was the second generation of the Pro Carbons. You can tell because the first generation's got quite a bulbousy head thing going on there. I think it's a Pro Carbon. You can't tell because it's got black writing on a black background. It's probably got black switches and black lights that light up black to tell you pressed them. Kind of stuff. Yeah, because the third generation ones have got through axle. I don't know. I don't think it is a Pro Carbon. It might be a Viner. Anyway, it's a black Planet X carbon frame. It's got a problem with the wheels. I can't remember if we did these on the video or not. I just seem to remember it was a quickie. I don't think I did video it. Di brought it round while she was out riding because it had got a problem, and then I spotted that the back bearings had gone in the back wheel, but not only had the back bearings gone, also the bearings in the Freewheel hub had gone as well. So I had some bearings in stock, did the wheels. I need to check them though because she does say it's slipping, but it is also I've got the Freewheel now. Diane got the Freewheel somewhere around. So hopefully this is the right thing. Yep, that looks like the right thing. Yep. So that'll go straight on. Yeah, that's smooth. Now what we will do is I'll have a go at stripping the other one down. Because I do have a tool for taking them to pieces, and you can take them off. We will have a go at mending it, and then we'll keep that one as a spare, and we'll see if we can do a deal with Diane. Unless Diane wants it back, I'll still service it anyway and see if we can get it going again. It depends how bad they are. If the races are pitted, or if the bearings are just knackered and it just needs cleaning out, that's fine. It's full of shit. But if the bearing surfaces are pitted, like I think I've probably chucked them out now. Where were they? They will have been on there. They might be over here. I suspect. Oh no, they're not there. Right. So if you remember, we had to swap these out recently because the actual cones were pitted. And if you've got pitting like that within the races, then you can't do anything about it. It's a bin job. I can pack it with grease and make it less noisy, but it's still going to be a thing. The only good thing I will say about these is it almost doesn't matter because they're non-load bearing. So as long as the little flipper tangs are still working, I think there is only 2 in these. And they're not even in the same, they're not even at 180 degrees. They're like both of them around to one side. So one would be there and one would be there, and then there's nothing around there. You almost think one's missing. And they're just a little ratchet flipper. It's a tiny little spring with a ratchet that comes out and catches the edge of the thing. And there's 2 of them. So as long as they still work, this isn't actually load bearing. The bearing in the hub itself is the load bearing. There's a bearing goes into this cup at the end here. So there's a bearing sits in there that's actually the weight bearing part of it. The bearings that are in there are just for the ratchet on that. So it almost doesn't matter as long as it's still ratchets. It's just they are flipping noisy. I'll give you don't know if you can hear that. It's worse when you clamp it in the... Yeah, I rested you on there, see if you picked it up through induction, through the frame. Anyway, right, enough waffle, let's get you in the stand. Tidy up the workshop, shift tango, get it up. Right. So I think you can probably hear it now. If you can't, there's something definitely wrong. So that is the freewheel. Because as soon as I start moving that in time with the wheel, it goes away. And I can actually feel it through the pedals. Forgot you were still recording. Sorry, I got distracted slightly because I noticed the gear cable was a bit loose. So, and it wasn't doing its second index down. Wind that back down, get this wheel off. Boom, wheel off. And that is the easy way to take it off. Because in theory, there you go, you shouldn't have to touch the chain at all. Same for putting it back on. So if you put it on the smallest ring, moves the chain to that side, easiest to get it off. Smallest ring being that one. Right, be back in a minute. Just remembered, we've not actually tidied up the workshop yet, have we? And I've crashed into doing that already. So we'll stick it over here and we'll have a little tidy up of the workshop. Off the gears and things. Suspension bits. We're back. Right, cool. I think we'll put some gloves on for this one. It's going to be Aki. And I'll chuck that in the parts washer while it's off as well. Give it a quick clean. I can't remember if I cleaned it last time it was off. Might have done, I might not. Who knows? Chuck that down there. Let's carry on as we mean to. Put things in the box. Let's get that off first. So you know the drill. You've seen it. You must have seen this a million times now. Works better about the middle of the ring. Doesn't need to be. Just seems to work better there. Big spanner. Set in the right direction. Hopefully. Yes. Oh. There we go. Tried to do something different this time. I tried to get all the tools I need ready, so you don't spend all your time watching me fumble around the workshop looking for stuff I can't find. Cool. Chuck this in the water bath. Ooh. It's all in one place. Let's sink that down now. Leave that to soak for 10 minutes. I ought to get an ultrasonic, because actually an ultrasonic would be quite good for that. Let's get that out, chuck it in the pot. Right, I've got to get these off now. I think everything uses 5mm. So I've already got, well, the first bits use 5mm and then we get progressively bigger. So we're stripping down that hub. So these wheels are multi-compatible. They work with, oh, just throw that on the floor. Luckily we do get a spare one of these. So these are all for Freewheel hubs. Now that bit's come out. Now it's left that bit in there. So now we go, I think we go up a size, or it's a star bit now. No, it's not, still a 5. You wouldn't believe how many of these I've done. These visions are pretty much the same as the focus and the fulcrums. So they all work the same, pretty much the same way. They've got a very similar setup to the hubs. Completely different to the Campags, which actually have a little funny little clamp on. So there's the bearings that we fixed last time. And they're nice. What we need to do is just knock them out. So the easiest way to do this is to actually just put that back on again and go and get a malito, if I can find one. A big malito. I do have a little dinky one of these. It's like a kid's one. So that one's out. There we go. Just need to check it, because when you knock it, I'm actually knocking it out using the centre, and you just need to be careful when you're knocking them out from the centre that you've not damaged the race at all. And then we need to do the same back the other way. So we've got to knock that one out from the other side to knock that out, and the easiest way to do that is to put this one on and let that one knock it out from the other side. So just get that in. Now, it might be I have to put this on the thing because there might not be enough What we do is all we're doing here is just take them off. So I could put a socket in there, but and bang it down into a socket. But as long as it's wider than the centre of the axle, it should be okay to knock it out with this. Now this one you do have to hit it a lot harder to get it out. Is that moving at all? It's moved a little bit. I could use a puller and put the puller on the other side and pull it out, but I'm not really that fussed about doing that. We'll get a few more. If it doesn't come, we'll use an extractor. I'm just bashing my mallet for no good there. Right, we'll use an extractor then. So, what have we got that we can use? A varying array of options. Not sure if that's long enough. Might be. Yeah, that might be long enough. So this is actually part of the tool that you use to strip down the freewheels. So it's a freewheel key tool. Let's see where we'll find out it won't go through to the other bit. It won't go through to the other bit. Right. Let me try something. Nope. Bigger than that. No, smaller than that. Oh, not that small. Right. Different mallet this time. There we go. I'll show you what I did there in a minute. Now, it might be that we need to replace that bearing because I've had to hit that quite hard. We'll feel it. So, shoot that back out again. Right, so that's the wheel off. So what I was doing there was all I'd done was just put that over the top of it. It rides on the edge of that, so it's not gonna. It's flat onto there, so it's not going to do that much damage. And we're hitting that rather than hitting the top of that or hitting that and putting stress on that. So we'll see how that goes. Just got to check this bearing, see whether we've. It feels okay actually. That. There's a little bit of play in it. Hold on a second. Back in the room. Sorry about that. I had to go and unload the shopping. Spot bracket tool, right? So now we are left with lots of hexagons. Right, so what we'll have to do is just knocking that centre one out. So we've got the bearing out, and all we're after doing is whizzing that out. So I can't remember what size it is. It ain't that size. Bigger than that size. That is a big one. I don't think I've got anything bigger than that. I can't remember how I got it off last time. No, that is the biggest one I have got. I think it's that one. Nope. That might be that one then. Nope, it's not that one. I think that is the biggest one we've got, so I don't know how I got this out last time on one of these. Let me have a look. Aha. That'll be how we did it. I did think I'd got one of them, to be honest. Could be wrong. It's not really in there. I think that's out of the other toolkit. Oh, well, that's doing in there. Shouldn't be in there. Anyway, right, we digress slightly. So, just check the threads. Right, I might have to use the floor. I can't get enough purchase on it. Anyway, I'm doing it the right way round. You sure I am? Oh, that's not a budging. Just check I'm not having a senior moment. Screw it up, screw it down. So it is a standard thread. Introducing the Persuader. Bought for removing Land Rover wheel nuts. There we go. Never argue with the Persuader. To be honest, the torque wrench probably would have got it out, but you're not really supposed to use the torque wrench. Over torque. That's a proper mess, that is. So there is there's a shim in there that moves it, because obviously these have to be fairly tight tolerances. That's saying, you'd be amazed how many of these you still have to adjust the rings. But for some reason it won't come out. So these, it's like a very fine washer. It's a shim. It's a shim. Trying to get that out. Right, let me get some cleany stuff. Let's see what we're doing. You see, these hubs are really nicely machined. Let's see, we've got all crud. I think I might not have to get it out. I'd rather just make sure we've got all the muck out, because if there's any seat behind it. So this is just hydraulic pressure that's holding this in. I don't really do this, but there you go. So that is a machined shim to a particular size that fits perfect in there to hold that off just at the right distance, so it's not quite catching. Sometimes you might get two in there as well. You might get that one and then a really wafer thin one. So they might have to make two to get up to the size that they need. So this needs to be a really good mating surface. So you can see that's clean loads of muck out of there now. Spot on that. So you won't feel there's anything wrong with that. We'll take it to pieces in a minute, have a look at it once we get the other one on. Now what I will do with these is, they are torqued up to quite high spec. So I think they're about 40, 50 Newton meters. I'd just do them up to 40 because, to be honest, there's no point in doing them any further. They're not going to undo. But just to make life easier, getting them off, it's just worth putting a bit of molly slip on. So that's copper slip. Sorry, not molly slip. Similar stuff though. It's a grease that's impregnated with tiny particles of copper, and the idea is that that comes off in the thread. And because we've got two dissimilar metals, it stops any galvanic resistance building up. Of course, you need to put the where I put it, it's still on the end of there. You need to remember to put the washer back in that you've just taken out and put down, not in the tub you're supposed to put it down into. Right. One of these will have a really flat surface and the other one will have a slightly bowed surface. Flat surface, machined flat surface up, beds against that surface there. Walk around. Wanna wait? So that's set to, actually that's a bit high. Do it at 42. That's it. I think what I'll do is I'll take it up to 50 because, like I said, I would normally do these at, not foot-pounds, I would normally be doing these at about 50. And then it falls out. That's it. Right, that's spot on. It feels like it's moving nicely. It's not grating or catching, which is the only thing you've got to be careful of. Making a nice noise. So now all I've got to do is just put all the bearings back in again. Making sure that we don't forget to put these in at the right point, because that's what I normally end up forgetting to do. Is I normally, now this is the easier one to put in. So I learned last time with these that it's easier to draw the smaller one in first, which is actually this one. Now I was going to go and check that because I thought this felt a bit sus. we'll get a new one of them. I think this is the side it goes in. Yep. Actually, let's knock that one out first. Just make sure that that is clean in there. Yep. Right. What we need is a little bit of assembly lube. Assembly lube. Lube. Found it. It's over here. So just to help them go in so they're not graunchy. A little bit of lube on there. You don't want to make sure there's no dust or grime or machining or anything in any of these surfaces. That's why I checked that. So we'll just knock that one in. That feels quite tight in there actually. I do hope that we've got the right one. And we're not looking at a raced one there. No, that does look exactly the same. I couldn't tell looking the other day whether you could actually use these with a race or otherwise, because I was trying to work out whether I could convert my Shimano ones that I had to fix up to a race, but I think we're all right. What we'll do with this is we will find that is absolutely perfect, so we will give that a good whack and send that home. That feels like that's nicely in. That's a good one. Right, so flip it over. Stick the axle in, which is what I normally forget to do when I'm doing these. Make sure that's bedded in properly. And then get the ball race, same thing again. Just before we go any further. Come on. We're like that, are we? If I find out that's not the right end for that one. Should be. There we go. Just give that a quick. I hate wearing gloves. Right. Spot of lube. Okay, wait. Nope, bigger one for this one. Hopefully that one will fit. Or then again it might not. No, need a slightly smaller one. That one. So what the problem is with this one is the spokes adjust. So this one just tends to drop in. You'll feel it go, and it'll just go. I don't know why they're all like it. Every single one is the same. That one just seems to drop in. Are we back with us now? So let's shift that out of the way. Turn that around so you can see it. So, which one goes in first? I think it's this one. So 5mm in that side, 5mm in this side. Nip it up. Actually leave that one in. Right, I did notice actually that these came with something slightly different, which wasn't on the other one. So I probably need to just have a quick look at this and work out what the crack is. Right, so that is different to that. So why is that different? Right, so I am pretty sure that we will go with let me show you what I'm looking at. So this one came with a an edge there, and it's to keep the muck out. So I think they've had a problem with these in the past. So I'm just having a look at this. So that does sit slightly more proud. So it depends whether or not that goes all the way down when we screw it on. But we'd probably be able to use this as well. So I think this is unique to this bike. These are unique to this axle setup on this bike. That definitely does not look like it's touching that. So that looks like it's bottoming out on the thread. So let's get scientific with this then. Find out what the crack is. Slide that over. And sorry, you can't see what I'm doing again. I'm fumbling in drawers. Right. So I'm always curious, when they give you something new, there's a reason why they give you something new. So what I'm looking for is, if I sit that on there and then take that down to, or do we do it to the bottom? Let's do it to the bottom, because then we're on the edge then, aren't we? Right, so that's to the edge of that. So there is a difference in size on these, but that doesn't feel like it's going all the way down. So if I find the other one that I've just put down and misplaced, see what the difference is. Right, so there is a difference. Actually, it does potentially it looks like there's a bit missing off that one. That bearing piece should be there, and it's missing on Diane's. So if you look, that's the original one. It does look like that washer is missing, but this has got a slightly different profile. Now I think what you do with this one is that goes through that, and I think this goes like that, and then that puts a seal over the top of that and stops water from getting through. So then that screws on and drives that down. So we'll go with that. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether that goes like that or adds a little bit of extra. I would probably say that it adds a little bit of extra under there. So obviously they've worked out that there's a problem with these, and that their solution is to do that. So let's have a go. It's a voyage of discovery. I'm pretty sure it doesn't go on the other side. you know, whether they've suddenly decided to beef up the other side, because that seal's normally good enough. That's what they would normally have on a just a normally bowl raced cup and seat one. So I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something completely obvious on this side, and that this wants to go on this side. No, it wouldn't fit, I don't think. Oh, it might do. Oh, that's interesting. That's throwing the cat amongst the pigeons now. Yeah, that definitely doesn't fit. So I think we're back with the. And the thing is that then, yeah, it can't be right, because why would you supply a seal for the other side when it's not that part that you're placing? What you're actually replacing is these gubbins here. So that seal definitely sits on the underside of that, like that, to give an extra bit of seal across that, and then that goes in there. So what we will do is we will squirt a bit of red grease. Red grease. Right, so let's do it at this side so you can see what I'm up to. Now what I'm going to try and do is crank this in, because I think that will be the better way of doing it. That's just sit nicely into the top of that. So I think that's a they've realised that there's an issue with them, so they've put this extra sealing piece on there. So that's a double seal now. There's a seal from underside and a seal from outside, and it's going to stop all the shit and crap going in there and getting into that bearing and then into them other bits. So that, I would say, is a fairly good solution to that. And that's what that other piece is there to stop, is to keep this piece on the outside. So that other collar behind it is there purely for that. So I would call that a win. Right. So we just need to stick the cassette back on that, and we can bung it back in the bike. Do you want to watch me wash another cassette? I'm guessing you don't. What you want to do is you want me to take that to pieces, don't you? Let's put the bike back together first. Rusty, there you go. Cool. Back. You know the drill. Find the big one. That's the big one. Find the big one. There we go. Next one. Find the big one. Don't spin it around like you keep doing on every video. Remember writing to the outside. Won't let you put it on anyway. I think we've already had this conversation at least 20 times, so I seem to have taken these off a lot lately, particularly on this bike. Don't forget the spacer rings, or don't do what I did the other day and put an extra spacer ring in and then couldn't understand why it didn't fit. That was field mechanics at its best that day. I swapped one of these out and realised I'd left the chain whip at home, so I had to improvise a chain whip using gaffer tape and luggage straps. This one's always the fiddly one, so you've got to make sure you get it on right. You'll know if you're not, because it won't sit right, but you might not notice it until it's too late. Now then, I'm spotting an obvious flaw in my cunning plan here. I ain't going to go over there, is it? Right. If I keep that straight, I shouldn't have a problem with that. Right, I've got to take that off again now. There's no room to actually get that in, and if I push it down, it's going to push it beyond that thing. So I think that's supposed to go in first, and the other bit then follows it and goes and sits over the top of that and adds an extra seal. So that's deeper in. So we'll pop it off and see what that looks like, and we'll drive that all the way in. He says, I have to remember where all these bits are now, because he's probably been and tidied them all up. No, I haven't. That'd be too much. Yeah, that one's coming off. So I think this has to go all the way down. That so I thought it went like this. That, which would make sense, but that leaves then no thread to screw that into, because the center piece, which is in here, screws into the top of there. So I now think that this possibly goes like that, with that in the top of it. And that does appear to fit also. So I think that's how that goes. So this needs driving in all the way down, which actually, do you know what? It's going already. Even very little force. So let's see if I can find something that's about the right. Nope. 22. Nope. 21. Near enough. Right, that's actually gone in really nice. So that goes at the bottom, and then this then screws on with that bit on it. So all they've done is just altered the profile and moved the shoulder up to accommodate that. So that's actually quite a clever little fix they've done there for that. So what we'll do to help it is, so this is a motorcyclist trick. When you are refurbing, brakes, you get a special kind of grease that is not the kind of grease that damages rubber. So if I smear a bit of this inside here, so this is actually Avid, so this isn't even motorbike grease, but motorbike grease has this, and it's red as well, funnily enough, but it doesn't damage. It's a grease that doesn't damage rubber, and it's safe to use near hydraulics, because all the sealing parts of your hydraulics are rubber. And you can use it on forks as well, so that's why that's Avid. I use it on forks and discs, and brakes, and it works really well with stuff like this, because I can put that on there now, and it'll add a nice rubbery surface, nice slippery surface for it, without actually damaging eventually the rubber seal. So it degrades and then gets hard. Oh, that's perfect. That actually spins better than before. Yeah, you can see it's just putting a little bit of pressure on it. So now then, so that one there. That one there. See, I do, and every time I make a mistake, I chuck it out. When you buy these, they come with a loader. I don't know why that's got the spring on, because it shouldn't really have the spring on, to be honest. Because That's a nailed under ring, and you shouldn't have the spring on a nailed under ring. I think somebody's added that and got a bit overexcited when the bike was first built. Because that's got knurling on it, and the idea of that knurling is it catches on that knurling there. So if you put this like flimsy washer in between, it actually stops it from knurling, so you don't get that nice noise you're supposed to get when you're doing it up, when it's going and you're sat there with the confidence that it's not going to suddenly come off, even if you don't torque it to the right setting. And this looks in a pretty bad way, actually. I did notice this last time I put it on, that it looks like somebody at some point cross-threaded it as well. So I'm wondering if I've got a better one of them somewhere. Thought I did have one floating around over here. Could be wrong. Sorry, I'm leaning. What's we got there? Is it a Shimano for starters? It's a Shimano Hyperglide. It is knurled. It's a lot heavier than that one. Yeah, that's a lightweight one. We'll give this one a go. They're only bad in one place, so we'll see how it goes. So the trick is with these. Is let it go backwards until you feel it click down. There you go. I think we're going to be all right with that. Don't forget chain whip when you're doing up as well, because it protects your thing. That's a lot better now. That actually, it protects your freewheel if you're pushing on this rather than pushing on the teeth of your freewheel. Oops. Yep. No, that's taking it. As long as it torques up without stripping the threads, I'm a happy bunny. Right, so that I'm quite pleased with, and I'm quite pleased that we're not going to get a repeat. I like it when firms actually spot there's something wrong and do something about it, instead of just going, well, it's okay, they'll buy another one. Because that's not the right answer. I'll put this in here. That's in there. I wonder why she never noticed that bit was missing. Mind, I seem to remember this was also one that had one of springs missing as well. But one of those springs might be. Is that spring damaged? It didn't feel well, that spring. You know what? I think we will swap that spring out. Yeah, the spring's stuck on the thread, so I suspect it's had a bit of trauma. Now we'll just swap that one out. I've got loads of these now. Bought a load, if you remember, I couldn't find them, and then I actually found them later. I think they're in here. So you're now going to stand there and watch me for half an hour while I look for the springs that I couldn't find last time that I've now put in here that I can now find. I found them. Hey! Because just because they're in there and I know where they are doesn't mean I can find them, and I'm not going to walk past them about half a dozen times and not see them. Put the expensive grease back in the expensive grease cupboard. Put 2 new ones on, might as well. So remember, wide bit to the outside. That goes on that side, because you never have the lever near your gears. If you're ever wondering which way round it goes and you can't remember. Right, so in theory that should actually fit the frame a bit better, and I'll probably have to go and and I will definitely have to go and re-index the gears. So let's bring you around here. Back, boom. Right, do you remember this gadget? This was the gadget I bought that I forgot to show you me using it. So it's just to keep the chain from banging on the frame when you've got the wheel off. But what you can do is you can clean the chain with it on, nice and easy. So you put it to somewhere where the chain's neutral in a straight line, and you put your chain cleaner in. I can find it, because we might as well get the chain clean while we're here. I've done it. I've solved the problem of it coming out every 2 minutes and making a right old mess. But at least now it sticks to something and won't get knocked over. It's already full of absolute crap in there. So we will give this a quick spinneroonie just to clean the chain off. Because the bike's now at a funny angle like we had the other day, and all the stuff's running out. That's nearly level. Oh. I have nothing to say, and now you can see why these don't seem to live long in this workshop, because I have this unnerving ability to kill them, and at the same time of killing them, chucking vast quantities of engine cleaner all over the floor. So I thought I'd done well not tipping it over the floor, getting it on the bike like what happened the other day. Right. Oh. Right, you can hear that. That's just turned to foam in there now. It's changed. Yeah, that's just all foam. Chain looks quite good. I didn't actually test it, did I? I seem to remember it wasn't long back I put a new chain on this one. I seem to remember. Yeah, that's like brand new. That we're not even tickling it on the. Yeah, we got loads left in that. So let's just give that a quick wipe off. Get all that crud off it. Now what this also does is this is a chain oiler as well. So what you do is there's a foam pad on there, and you squirt oil onto that, and it helps oil both sides of the chain. I'll give that a quick clean. That what it does do is it makes it, which is a rather nice added bonus to this, is it does make it easier to get in there and clean these jockey wheels without getting your fingers eaten by the back wheel or disappearing into the chain. So I can get that right in there now and clean that out. So I'd forgotten that was the main reason why I wanted one of these. When I wanted one of these about 3 years ago, it was actually clean the derailleur more than the chain. So that's it. I've got all the teeth well and truly sorted now, and they're pretty much almost dry. You could blow it off with a hose. This bike's filthy. Wayne, you need to clean this bike. Oil. Might as well oil it now. This needs filling up as well. So if you do it here, there's actually a rubber pad under there. So any of the oil that flows through here when I'm doing it ends up on the rubber pad and gets recirculated to the bottom of the chain. So we'll just wing that round a bit. I get a less dirty rag for cleaning the oil off. If anyone's got any old t-shirts you don't want, I'll take them as rags. Particularly the cotton ones, they work rather well. Yeah, that chain looks like brand new again there. Just find a clean bit and do another pass with it. Get in there. There you go. So I think it was quite expensive, that. They used to be a couple of quid, but they've upped the game with these. They're a bit more posh now. They've got flipping anodized aluminium runners and ball raced bits. And there's a thing for putting spare chain things in there, and there's a magnet and all sorts of stuff. But that's pretty much how they are now. There's even a thing for shoving in your brakes and a spare thing on them. Slightly over-engineered, but it was the cheaper of the options. So all we've got to do, actually, we need to put that back down again into fifth. So you should be able to whip that over the chain. That all looks nice and new. Bring that up. Get your fingers out of the way. There you go, and straight in. So that just shows that that must have been clamping the chain onto that quite tight, because that piece was missing. So I wonder when that happened. Nearly there. Right, so we'll just drop it onto the floor to just make sure that wheel's seated properly before I do anything else. There you go. Did you see that? That's quite a long way out. There we go. So I'm probably going to have to re-index this now, because that's going to be about 3 millimeters in a different place to where it was before. So we'll bring you around here. We'll see where we are. Yeah, see, it's catching. So I suspect it's going to need some taking out of it. It's not far off, actually. So we'll look, see where it's sitting. Yeah, just wants a little bit taken out of it. So we'll do it this way round. Can you see that? There's your eye in the right place. So what I'm looking to do is just move that across. It's slightly over by about 2 mil. I think it should be. No, that's why I did it. Right. See if that's any better now. Right. Happy with that? Let's check it with the one on the big ring now. Can you hear how quiet it is? I've just realised. We're back. Right, sorry, memory card ran out. So I turned that the wrong way. I've turned it the wrong way. Yeah, turn it too far this time. And turn it a notch back. Let's go a notch back, I think. So looking for a crisp, clean downshift. That is a good one, I'd say. So pleased with that. Everything looks about where it should be. Right, let's go tear that other thing to pieces. Right, let's ignore the cat noises. So I've just mounted the socket in there. We're going to pop it to pieces now and just have a look at it. It feels really graunchy. So I think it was worse. I think me trying to chuck a bit of oil in it last time to try and keep it going for a bit longer. All it's done is just accelerated. Well, it's not accelerated. It just means we're better to hear how bad it is. It won't have made it any worse putting oil in, but what it will have done is a lot of shit in there that was dulling the noise. So hopefully this will fit, and I'm going to customize it because this is for a Suntour or something else, but it just happens to fit these. So we'll put a spanner on that and we'll wang that out and try, because you're supposed to bolt them through, but if I bolt it through I've got nothing to hang on that. So the idea is you can do this while it's on the bike. Why you would do it on the bike, I don't know. Because when you see how many ball bearings will come out of this, you will realise that you would never do it on the bike. Because if it's like the one on mine, I took to pieces. If you watch the videos, I think this might be a left-hand thread. I can't remember. Can't be a left-hand thread because it's the same thread that the no, it's not coming off. It might be a non-serviceable part. Oh no, it could be a left-hand thread because it's not the same thread that the other one uses. I really don't want to damage the tool because just to take this to pieces, because I do use this tool a lot. Ah, there we go. Oh, that was just shredded something. Right, so you have to be really careful at this bit now. It's going to end up with bearings everywhere if I don't. Oh, nearly lost it. Right, let's pick it up. Shove your leg in there. Right, I'll do it in here. So if we lose anything, I can't get the flipping thing out now. There we go. Oh, let's get a clean tub. One of these. Let's use one of these. Right. So I think that's out now. So that should come off. So if you've got one of these and you've got a raced thing, you can take them off. Now, I don't think that will take the race, that one, you know, loose balls. But you can replace them, so you can buy just these bits. Right, you can see that's fairly shitty. In fact, I'm going to chuck them all in there. That way we won't lose anything. Right, I don't know if you can see in there. Let me, there's me torchy thing on. Oh, what have I done with that? You see that? So there are something like 24 balls in there, and it's an absolute nightmare. So we're going to just make sure they're all out before we go any further. Right, so I'm going to just put that in there, and then we'll count these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 balls. I was one ball out. 25 balls, and you can see the state of them. I will clean them in a minute. We'll see how bad they are. I'll do it the dirty way. I'll just squirt some stuff in. Right, so let's have a look what we've got in there now. So you can see the index in now for the Freewheel. So if you've never taken one of these to pieces, now sometimes as well you might find there's another one of those shim washers in there to make sure it's exactly the same size. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this bit out, and I think the balls are on the other side of this. Yep, they are. There we go. Yeah. Right, so this is slightly different to the one I took to pieces the other day, because that only had 2. Now the reason I'm putting these over here separate is because if there's a different number of balls, I need to count them. So also make a note of any of these rubber seals and which way round they go, because that's an absolute pig if you get that wrong. So the rubber seal goes curved side inwards and flanged side outwards, which is actually counter, because no, it's not. No, if you want to stop something moving, you always have the flanged bit on the outside, the flanged bit towards the bit that you don't want to move. So in this case, we don't want water to get in. It's not that we want to stop oil getting out, we want to stop water getting in, so that's why it seals outwards. So we'll chuck that down there. Just make sure we've got all of the ball bearings. There's still a couple there. So we'll count them as well in a minute. Make sure there's none disappeared down here. Yep, there's a ball there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So there's 25 there as well. So we have got 2 lots of 25 balls. Now, it might be possible to get these balls to rebuild this. Right, I mean these are fairly heavily chunked up with rubbish. Right, so again we need to make a note of this. So that's that shim I was on about. That's the sizing shim. So there's a couple on here. So obviously they've had to do that. What it is you don't tighten this down. You tighten this down to the shims. You don't tighten it like on other things where you tighten them down until you start to nip the balls and you get a bit of tension. Oh, nip the balls, and then you back it off, and then you lock it with a locking ring. There's no locking ring on these, so it has shims on instead, so that it's locked down in exactly the right place for the size of the ball. So what generally happens is, as the balls or the races wear, you can't tighten them back up again. I mean, you could take that shim out, and it would nip it up and make it a bit tighter again. So we'll clean this off. I might order some new balls for it anyway, but it all depends on the state of the actual race journals themselves that the race is running, as to whether or not that's worth doing. Because if they are too badly knackered, then we won't bother doing it, because all you're doing is just putting balls in and they will just get chewed up in exactly the same way. So we'll clean all this lot off. Well, these are bits off. I will clean that off and we'll have a look at the state of the bearings. I will bring you back when I've cleaned these. Stop recording. Back. Right, brake cleaner. Ah, that's interesting. Spot where the problem was. So they were in one place. They look all right. Actually, they're cleaning up nicely. These were the ones on the other side. They are pretty much manky. Yep, they are definitely deceased. So if we find out what size balls they are, we can order some more. I've had a look at the races. They don't look too bad. But what we'll do is we'll order a full set of balls anyway. So it'll be like. So I'll get one of the shiny ones, and because I'm assuming they're the same size, they will be. It's a bit of a dirty trick, this one, doing this, but it's a good way of doing it. And what that showed immediately was, you could see as soon as I hit that with the thing, the brake cleaner will literally just dissolve the grease and it just runs off. So these are pretty much looking okay, and they came up straight away, nice and bright and clear. Every single one of these is absolutely mullered. They've lost their hardened coating, so they will have worn down, and that's why we're getting that graunchy noise. So we'll get them measured. This brake fluid will evaporate off, which is why I'm trying to clean all the muck out of the way now, so it doesn't leave a film of dried out muck all over it. Make sure I don't accidentally pick any of them up. You see it's evaporating now. Some of these aren't so bright either. They're varying degrees of brightness, but you can see some of these have started to lose their luster a bit. Some of them do look a bit small as well. You know, what you'll tend to find is you'll find that one or two of them will lose their hardened outer edge, and then once it gets through to the less hardened stuff underneath, it'll wear them down quite quickly. So you'll get balls in varying different states of knackeredness. So that's it. You can see it's all evaporated off now and gone in my lungs and whatnot. So we'll just, oops, I left my torch on. Pack this flipping thing away as well. So the best way to do this is not to drop it on the like I've just done there. Did that shoot its way back in? So you do it up with a ratchet so you don't over tighten it. Right, so that will tell me that it is. So each one of the ticks on there is 0.5 of a millimetre, I think. Or is it? Yes, I think it is. So we're looking at one, I think. Can't remember now. Better tell when I wind it down. So that's 0.5, 1. So these are 1, 2, 3 millimeters. Well, actually, I think they are 3.15. 6. 3.165. 3.165 millimeters, which is absolutely bugger all use to me if they're in inches. So just to be on the safe side, because that doesn't do inches and this does, let's stick one. We'll measure a couple of these bowls as well, by the way, because we like measuring bowls. Right, so let's see what this one gets. This gets 1, 2, 3, 1, 5. Yeah, so that's about the same. 3.31, 3.15. 5. 3.15. 3.15. That is slightly more accurate. 3.15. So what's that in inches? That is exactly 1/8 of an inch. So these are imperial balls at 1/8 of an inch, because that is bang on. Or is it 2/8? No, they're 1/8, because that'd be a 16th. Because that should say 16th up there, because there will be 16 of them to there. So there'll be 8 of them big ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 1/8. So they are 1/8 bearings. 1/8 of an inch bearings. See, I know as soon as it got to a point, they were going to be imperial. So I need 50 1/8 bearings. Right, we'll call that a wrap then. That's another one done. We'll get that one packed up. Freewheel sorted. Relatively easy job, even though it threw me a bit with some extra seals where they've upgraded it. We'll have a bash at fixing this. I'll see if I can get some 1/8 bearings and put it back together. The bearing surfaces do look a little bit chewed, to be honest. So I've got mixed views on whether we'll recover that one. That was the outer edge, so those were the bearings that was in the better nick. It was the ones behind at the back that were in a bad shape, which is interesting because the rubber seal that they've added is on the front, but it wasn't those bearings that was failed. It was the ones that were sat behind this rubber seal that was already on. So I'm not entirely sure what's happened there. It could be pressure washer in the bike that's done that. You definitely want to keep your pressure washer away from your hubs when you're pressure washing. So rims, frame, that's okay, but keep them away from your bottom bracket and your definitely your hubs front and back, because if you are running, well, if you're running any kind of bearing, a pressure washer will just blast straight past that. So it's not just that you're putting water into a greased area, you're putting mud into a greased area as well. So all that silt and shit that's on your bike, you're blasting it past the rubber seal and putting it in with your grease that's now been diluted with water and probably forced out of the channels as well, and been replaced with water and silt, which just grinds your bearings down, you know, makes a fine paste, which is what I suspect happened with this one. I will just give these a quick spray with WD-40, just because I'm not sure how long they'll end up sat for now, just while we explore the possibility of getting some more bearings in. I may or may not put it back together video on as a separate little short or something. It depends. They might do the whole lot, just might get chucked in a cupboard as spares anyway, because these little tangs do get damaged sometimes or go missing. Like I said, weirdly, the Shimano ones in the Shimano hubs only have 2 on. And I thought there might have been 1 missing, but I've had that bike from new, so it's not like it's been fiddled with by anybody else. These are little things. These do wear down after a while, and they tend to get mud building up behind them, so sometimes they stick down. So again, if that seal's been compromised and you've blasted a load of shit in, you can see there is something stuck behind that one already, and it does start to make them stick and get stuck down. So you might get it jumping. I don't think that's what was up with this one, but we'll see. Diane did say to check her back axle. Sorry, not axle, her back gears, because she thought it was jumping when she was riding it. But this is a fairly new bike, so we'll see. I don't think that's the problem. I suspect what it was doing was jumping down a gear because it wasn't indexed properly. So we'll see how that goes now. That's all back together anyway. It could be one of these was sticking, or 2 of them were sticking. When I took them to pieces and I started cleaning it, 1 or 2 of them were sticking in their little seats, those things there. So it could have been that. There was no grease in it at all. That should have been packed full of grease, but there was absolutely nothing in there. Anyway, right, gibbering on again. We'll call that a day. I've got no bikes in here now. Not in a position really to strip them BMXs down, but that might be coming next. I wanted to do that as a winter project really, when I haven't got really much on, and then get them all off to be powder coated as a winter job. So we'll see how we go with that one, and we'll get that one back today. That was fairly easy, and we've still got 2 bikes outside, 1 bike outside to be collected. Anyway, right, like and subscribe. I'm trying to build the channel. Anything with a motor as well, anybody's got anything like that wants fixing, or they want to donate it to the channel, fair enough. If you've got any old crappy bike bits that, you know, wheels and stuff that are knackered that you want to donate, that maybe we can pull to pieces and have a look at them, see how they go together. Those wheels for sale as well, 25 quid. They've got tyres on and a spare tyre. Quick release, can't remember, 7 or 8 speed. So if you've got a mountain bike with bolt-on wheels with 7 speeds and you want to run it on a turbo, it's got a turbo usable tyre on it, which you can't do with those. If nobody buys them, I will take the Freewheel hubs, skewers out of them. I'll take the tyres off them. I'll take the cassette off it, because it's not really a cassette. It's not a Shimano style cassette. It doesn't have a cassette hub like the others do. It's a screw on to the hub job, and the ratchet's built into the freewheel's built into the cassette. It's one of those. So I'll strip it off and I'll chuck them probably. It's no use to me. Right, so like and subscribe. Jobs are good in. Bye.